so on. So thank you all very much for having me, and I'm going to jump in on my presentation right now. Before I actually begin the presentation, I just want to talk a minute about, and this is kind of important, just a little bit of a top level discussion here about what is going on Amazon.com, what is going on in e-commerce, and what this presentation is. So just to understand a little bit what's happening here. The world has changed, and now people are able to buy products by sitting in their home instead of going to a store and buying products. That is completely different, and the momentum was such that for the last 15 years or so, that was going to be, it's grown, and anybody that was watching could have seen that clearly this is a better model for buying stuff than the model that we've all known and come. That is a better model for, selling product and buying product, and going to stores for many reasons. And the momentum was such that, of course, e-commerce was growing. And then, of course, in the last 6 months, with all the world events that have happened, and the inability to, to get close to people and all of those different pieces, or even to go outside, and depending where you're located, has kind of given another kickstart to e-commerce retail, to buying products online, and the space has grown. So e-commerce is looking to be poised to be the future of almost all purchasing that happens. Now, very cool, that's amazing, but what does that mean practically? So practically speaking, in the United States, there has been a series of different, marketplaces and existing retailers that have competed. But the fact is that Amazon.com in the United States has won. What it means to win is that there is in the United States, for some reason, unexplainable at best, but almost always a single winner of a particular space. So what that means is that, when the video sharing websites all launched, YouTube was just one of many of them. Google launched their own called Google Video, but YouTube won. And what that means is that YouTube is, a head and shoulders above, the second place. There is no second place to YouTube. And the same thing with Google. Google launched, and there were many search engines, but Google won. And what means that Google won is that there is no second place to Google. And it seems that this is existing as well on Amazon.com. So this entire presentation is going to be directed towards success in Amazon.com. It is the space in which, today the opportunity lies. Now, before I jump in, a second very important point. This is a massive opportunity for brands, especially small brands that are looking to, get market share in the United States. The reason for that is because, until about 10 years ago, 15 years ago, if you wanted to sell product in the United States, you were going to have to, figure out how you're going to get into big box stores, into relations, in these big brand deep, and there was a limited amount of product that got in. Today, everybody has the ability to compete, and the product selection has grown vastly. So, it used to be that there was, maybe, I don't know, 2, 3, 5 different toothpaste on the shelf on a big box store in the United States. Now there is today maybe 2,000 or 3,000 different toothpaste being sold on Amazon, each one with slightly different take to it, each one with a slightly different niche. And the reason why I'm telling you all this is because what's happened now is the birth of the mid-sized brand. What used to be that there was legacy brands in the United States, a series of brands that had been around for 50, 100 years with massive pockets and the ability to kind of control the entire retail space, has fallen away. Now there is the birth of the mid-sized brand and the ability for brands to sell, $3 to $15 million in large scale. Thousands and thousands and thousands of brands on Amazon.com will sell multi-million-dollar worth of sales of brands that may have not even existed 5 to 10 years ago, and certainly had no chance of doing this. So the massive opportunity, before I get into it, is that the nature of the landscape is new and has changed. And because of that, the brands are able to, even new brands not based in the US, are able to, of course, compete and the platform is extremely fair. And when I say extremely fair, it is fundamentally fair. It is the Amazon.com platform is based around what people are most likely to buy. So if you have a product that is more likely to purchase than a legacy product that can be doing billions of dollars in sales and kind of been existed in this country for the last 100 years. But the fact is that you have a better product or at a better price or a better overall experience, your product can outperform that product because Amazon.com is software-based and is just trying to present products that people are most likely to buy. So the nature of it is a massive opportunity. That's just, I wanted to give that brief introduction so that, you know, we keep an eye on the overall goal here, which is the ability to launch in the United States, to compete with American brands, to show why your product is indeed better, and to outperform competitive products on the space. Now that I give an introduction, I'm just going to give you a brief 1-minute introduction into this overall presentation. This presentation does, on a top level, give you a pretty good look into Amazon. The fact is that brands in the United States don't really even know most of the stuff I'm talking to you today. Amazon is brand new. Is different than any other retailer that you know people have experience with. This is completely different in almost every way. And because of that, that's another reason why this leads to being a massive opportunity for brands, and in order to kind of change to this new environment and be able to adapt, to be able to perform on the platform. But you know, this is a quick presentation. This is not going, this may leave you with more questions than answers as far as, you know, how to do it, what to do, but it will give you an overall context of what Amazon is and, you know, what the different pieces are. And therefore, once you understand what it is and what the pieces are, you can then understand how to perform best for your brand or whoever you may be representing on the US market on Amazon.com. So with that, I'm going to jump into the presentation, and I thank you all for coming today. All right, so, you know, just to give you an idea of what we've been doing, I have a firm called Albert Scott, or Albert Scott E-commerce Management. We've been involved in the Amazon space in general for about 10 years. We've been developing software already starting 10 years ago. We have, you know, our executives are tech-based. So because of that, we are, you know, more experienced actually in the tech market than we are in other markets. And we've approached this a little bit starting from more of a data level, more of a software level, and we jumped into the Amazon platform. And not knowing much 10 years ago, we started, you know, going through the regular route of buying, selling product on the platform. We were developing software to perform better, developing software to research the platform, to be able to take large quantities of data. Software, in fact, that my service today is built around not the exact same software, but software that has been adapted to the needs of what we're trying to do. About 5 years ago, we realized that Amazon is growing at a crazy rate, and the need to perform is so great that large brands, and today we work with many, have no idea what to do. And US-based large brands have no idea what to do on Amazon.com. And as the importance grew, and the pressure from their boards, the pressure from the public, the pressure from wherever, is going to need them to perform in a better way than they had been performing. And we had software, we had expertise, so we developed a tool. We developed a solution for brands to be able to perform on Amazon.com in order for them to, you know, manage all of the different pieces perfectly. And today we do manage many brands on the platform, helping with some of them. Many of them we've launched on Amazon.com. Many of them we've taken over on Amazon.com. But the idea was that we have teams of professionals, software and logistical setups in order to kind of do the best and outperform on Amazon.com. And, you know, growth is the key piece to everything I'm telling you guys here is going to be revenue growth on Amazon.com. That being said, you know, just to understand the basic points here, we are obviously US based. We do have a number of today the majority of our brands are US based. Some have been brands in the country for 50, 100 years. But the fact is that probably the greatest opportunity of the solution that we offer is actually not for the US brands. Today, we work with dozens of brands that are internationally based in almost every part of the world. And the fact is that in a quick amount of time, we were able to get them launched on Amazon with better product presentation than their American counterparts and their United States counterparts, with more efficient marketing than their United States counterparts, and pretty quickly outperforming their United States counterparts. And the fact is that the reason is because of the fact that we're fully focused on Amazon, while many US-based brands are trying to take their existing infrastructure and pivot and kind of shift to Amazon.com, which is extremely hard. If you know anything about corporate America, you would know that the fact is that it's slow and weighty to ship. And our ability to be able to be fully focused on Amazon has given opportunity for brands, even especially not based in the U.S., to jump into the U.S. markets and and take a piece of the overall revenue and whatever product category the products are performing. Now, to understand what product categories we work in, at this point we work in every product category that Amazon sells product in. So that's everything from high-end electronics to high-end fashion to grocery products to chocolate bars to health and personal care, vitamins, whatever you're talking about. We have probably a brand in that space that we are already working with, not necessarily the exact same set of products, but definitely know the universe of what we're offering. And for the most part, fundamental things, everything presented in this presentation will relate to almost every product category. Not to say that there are details of each product category that are different that need to be focused on. I'm not going to tell you that selling a jar of jam is the same thing as selling a t-shirt, and it's not the same thing as selling a high-end electronic. There are different marketing mediums, there are different product presentations, there are different details, but the general presentation here will apply to almost all product categories that exist. And of course, the way we're able to do this is with our existing set of teams and all the different parts of Amazon, our developed software, which is some of the best that exists today, our logistical setup, and all the different pieces that we've developed are all in order to kind of perform on Amazon. Now, let me just jump into Amazon.com. Why Amazon.com? And I mentioned this before. It's because Amazon has won. E-commerce today, when a person starts to look for a product, if you wanted today to buy a toothbrush, you don't type anymore in the United States toothbrush into Google. You type it into Amazon. And because of that, Amazon is now the source for retail, e-commerce retail in the country. Their growth has outperformed almost all other growth by such a degree that it is the focus. I was on a call last week with a company that is in fact somewhat famous in the United States for being an e-commerce platform for a particular product category in home improvement. So this parent company owns today about 35 different brands, all of which are substantial and all of which are stand around a single e-commerce website, which is somewhat famous in the United States. And I was talking to them about the difference between selling on Amazon and selling on their website. And they mentioned to me, they said, frankly, the difference is that we sell only 6% of our entire sales. Over 80% happen on Amazon and 6% happen on our website. So Amazon is clearly the winner when it comes to revenue and when it comes to e-commerce in the United States. Now, just some Amazon words and Amazon concepts that need to be understood before I jump into this. There are two major mediums of selling on Amazon. This entire presentation is focused on the platform. To sell products directly to the customer through a platform called Seller Central. Amazon themselves will buy products. That's called Vendor Central. That platform on Amazon has been closing and slowly quieting down. The focus of Amazon has pivoted to where brands such as the ones that you guys are working with or working on, or your own brands, those brands are selling direct to customers. And the nature of that is very fundamental in understanding why and what we're going to be talking about today. So therefore, Amazon is the platform. You are the seller. The platform that they're referring to on Amazon is referred to as Seller Central. Now, what happens with the shipping? Now, you have to understand something about Amazon and how and why they won e-commerce in the United States. Amazon today has built an infrastructure for delivery where they can guarantee 2-day delivery all over the United States in a cheaper fashion than any other possible / potential ability to ship in the country. The program is called FBA, which stands for Fulfillment by Amazon. What that means is you deliver product to an Amazon warehouse. Amazon then receives that product, distributes it to their wonderful fulfillment system, which consists of hundreds of warehouses throughout the United States, and are able to deliver 2 days anywhere in the country. Anything that goes through the Amazon fulfillment system gets the Prime badge. Amazon has hundreds of millions of members paying an annual fee in order to be a Prime member. What that means is you pay $120 a year. Amazon says you are a Prime member, and you will, if anything has this badge, we guarantee free shipping and 2-day delivery. Now that's wonderful, and everybody signs up, and now they get free 2-day delivery on hundreds of millions of items, and all of a sudden, you know, it's a great product. Now, what happened to the shipping? Well, what happened to the shipping was that the person selling on Amazon had to hide the shipping cost in their price. So since you are the seller direct to the customer on the Amazon platform, you are the one that chooses your price point. And when you choose your price point, you're going to choose an understanding that you're not getting all of that money back from Amazon for the sale of the product. The reason is because Amazon is going to deliver that product and charge you anywhere from $3.48 to $20 to deliver that product. And if you do not, and there is no extra shipping cost, which means they're just going to reduce it from your retail price. So in some ways, it's a little bit of a joke because it's called free shipping, but in fact, it's not free shipping. It's just shipping hidden in the retail price. But it is important for you to understand that when you're going to be pricing on Amazon, you're going to be pricing, understanding the different pieces that happen on Amazon, the different fees that are reduced from the sale, and therefore picking a healthy price. Payment from Amazon. Amazon is not going to therefore buy product from you. You are going to put your product live, get your product live on Amazon with inventory at an Amazon warehouse. And when the products sell, Amazon will pay you for the products that have sold. So the model in which retailers have made a certain purchase order no longer exists. The model is now where you list your product, and however many sales you do on that product, you will receive a payment for those sales. The same thing about marketing. Today, it used to be you sold a lot of product because you got into Walmart, you got into Target, you got into a large store. Now that's no longer the case. The way that your product will sell is when more people view your product, see your product listing, add it to the cart on their Amazon website, and check out. That is exactly how many products you will sell. You will not sell one more or one less, which means that marketing, or at least displaying the product to the most amount of people, will directly affect your sales. It doesn't make a good difference how good your product is, and it doesn't make a difference how niche your product is. The more people that will see the product, which is a key part of the solution we offer today, the more people that will sell the product. Breaking down Amazon, now I'm going to jump in. Now, this is top level, and each piece of this will raise a bunch of questions, and of course, we'll have some time to answer them. It's going to be hard to explain the entire Amazon and all the different details of it in a short solution like this, but it is important to understand the basics of it. Amazon, as we see it, and the way that my service breaks it down and manages it, is into 3 different parts. The first part is retail management. Retail management is a lot to do what I was saying before. You are now the seller direct to the consumer. You choose the price point. You choose how much inventory to send. You have to deal with the customer service issues. You have to figure out if you're profitable. You have to deal with any Amazon issues that may show up. All of these are in the category of managing the retail sale. So retail is a piece of Amazon, and if in fact you do not have the inventory at Amazon, all of the other pieces of Amazon will not work, because if there's nothing to sell, then you will not sell. That is all in the category, and I'll go into a little more detail about that in a moment. Listing management. A very important part to Amazon is your product presentation. People are going to decide whether or not they're going to buy your product based on how good your product looks. Is your product at the right price point? Amazon themselves don't know anything about your product. They today host hundreds of millions of products. Depending on how well and how much information you give them about your product and how well you poise your product will be how well they display your product. So therefore, your listing, which is the page of your product on Amazon, which is referred to as your Amazon listing, is an extremely important part of Amazon, and is in fact an entire entire division of my business. And the final piece, and perhaps the most important piece, is the marketing. The marketing means how is it that you're going to get your product found by people on Amazon that host hundreds of millions of products. And within your space, not knowing much about your brand, I can almost guarantee that there is a series of competitive products which you are trying to get visibility above. So therefore, the Amazon marketing piece, which is the 3rd division of my company, is the marketing piece is how are we going to get your products found on Amazon. So what's included in retail management, and I'm not going to go into detail too much in all of these pieces, but the first and foremost is financial modeling. You have to pick the price point, and since you have to pick the price point, you have to know when you pick a price point, what happens to your money. If I sell a product for $10, how much am I really getting back from that sale? And if I'm only getting back $3.50, that may not be enough money to cover my marketing. And even if it is enough money to cover my marketing, that may not leave me a profit. If I can tell you how many United States brands have built Amazons and invested millions of dollars into products with price points that don't make sense, it's almost laughable. What that means is, what happens, they didn't really know much about Amazon when they launched. They pick a price point that, you know, may make sense in your convenience store, but does not make sense in Amazon. And with, you know, a simple, basically, you know, conversation before they launched, they could have saved themselves millions of dollars of marketing and retail and revenue, and in fact, the health of their entire company. And the reason is because they did not build a model before they launched to understand what the numbers were. And I'll show you just a quick example of a model on the next slide, but it is key to understand the modeling around Amazon, to understand what retail price point you're going to choose. Now, Amazon has a wonderful delivery system to get product everywhere in the country and quickly, but it is not complex. It is extremely simple. What that means is you have to have your product sent to Amazon's warehouses in a way that they can simply drop it in a bag and deliver it to anywhere in the country. So if you have glass, your glass has to be wrapped for shipping before you deliver it to Amazon. If you are selling grocery products and you are not going to be able to sell a single product, you're going to have to sell a multi-pack, then you are going to have to assemble that multi-pack before it hits Amazon. And the next piece is inventory management. You're going to decide how much inventory to stock at Amazon. And the fact is that if you're going to decide how much inventory you're going to send to Amazon, you're going to need to understand what's going on Amazon and have some guidance in that space. And the same thing with Amazon's regulations. Amazon is trying to run hundreds of millions of products with a piece of software. They have tons of regulations in place. And in fact, many obstacles will pop up when selling on Amazon. You can have a product that is selling a few $1 million, a single listing that is selling a few $1 million on Amazon.com. But the fact is that Amazon, because it's a piece of software, will take your beautiful t-shirt and replace it with a picture of a toothbrush. And of course, everybody comes to the page, says, what the hell is a toothbrush doing here? And it's nothing more than a software glitch. And this happens all the time on Amazon. It doesn't make a difference how big you are or how much business you're doing. These are issues that need to be handled. The same thing with customer experience. One of the pieces I had mentioned is Amazon is particularly tricky when it comes to understanding what the financials of what's going on is. We have brands that we represent that will get their check from Amazon, and with that check will be 60 to 70,000 lines of data to explain why they're getting a $50,000, $100,000 check. Now, 50,000 lines of data, no accounting person in the world is going to be able to go through and understand what is going on. So without the proper software to parse this data and present you in a reasonable and actionable style, you know, that's not going to happen. And the same thing with Amazon mistakes. Amazon is running a big system. They're making tons of mistakes. Many of them cost you money, and you have to go after Amazon for those kind of things. And all of that's in the retail space. You know, and this would be an example of a financial model where a brand is selling, the retail price is $69.95. That's the retail price that they chose. Now, they knew that, understanding that on a single sale, there are different fees. Their shipping was $6.02. Their commission is going to be $10.49. Storing it at Amazon facilities is going to be 50 cents. They're paying us $6 a sale. We're doing the prep for them. We're doing the logistical setup for them. We charge them 35 cents. There's going to be $1 of returns. People are going to return it. It's going to cost them money. So on a single sale, they're only going to net $45. But even that's not complete because they're going to put in a lot of money into marketing. So the fact is that with this overall model, what I'm going to tell them is, over the year, we hope to sell $750,000 worth of this product. We hope to spend $113,000 in marketing, and we hope to net only $34 after all of this is said and done, you know, with the marketing and the different fees at year one. Year two, you'll have an increase because your marketing went down. But now they can take a look at that number and say to themselves, wait, am I profitable? What do I really have to price at to be profitable? And this is a financial model, and it's a key piece to understanding what's going on Amazon. Now, that's all retail. What are listings? Listings means your product page, and I had mentioned before, there really are two pieces to this. Number one, your text has to have the information that Amazon needs. Amazon has hundreds of millions of products. It will not know what you are selling. It only knows what you're selling based on the information you give them. Now, what that means is you have to already begin researching what people are looking for on Amazon in order to give them the right information. So if you have an organic toothpaste for kids and it's blueberry mint, and it is non-GMO, so therefore that's your product, and the search on Amazon is non-GMO blueberry toothpaste for kids, if you leave out any piece, you know, you don't mention that it's non-GMO, or you don't mention it's for kids, or you don't mention that it's blueberry, or you don't mention that it has a special property of whitening your teeth, Amazon will not know it, and therefore Amazon will not list you on that search, and you will never even have a chance to invest marketing spend to be able to build it out because Amazon simply doesn't know what your product is. So you need keyword research, and you need your text and the information you give Amazon to be rich with information so they can present it right. Now, the second side is that Americans actually don't read anything at this point. You know, Americans go to your product, they're going to look at the pictures, and they're going to decide if they want to buy it. And that little choice that they make when they're visiting your page, should I buy it or should I look at the next item, is the little choice that's going to determine how much money you are going to sell on Amazon, which means that the graphic presentation of your product has to be such that when they slide through those pictures, they say to themselves, man, this is a really great product. I really would like one of these. Or, man, this really does whiten teeth. I know I searched for toothpaste that whitens teeth. This toothpaste really does whiten teeth. Look at this customer saying that it whitened my teeth instantly. You know, these kind of pictures will convince the customer to buy it. So just to give you an example, this is what a search term research looks like. And this is actually Amazon data. It is actually for, you know, a product that gives you hydration, that keeps you mix it with water. And this way the water stays in your system longer, uses electrolytes. And this information we see here that is kind of saying, this is what people are searching on Amazon. So I know on my listing, I need to mention electrolytes. I need to mention a hangover cure. I need to mention that it's a hydration powder. I need to mention that it's morning recovery. I need to mention all of these pieces because these are the pieces that people are searching. And if I include it in my listing, Amazon will know that this is my item and therefore I have a chance of being presented on those searches. Now, this is an example of a listing we built where if you look at the title, Vitamin D3 Jellies by MV, you're going to see a lot of information in that title. And that had all to do with the exact piece I just showed you. It is a daily dietary supplement for men and women, and it is vegetarian and gluten-free and kosher, and it's 5,000 IU because all of these are searches that people are going to search. And in fact, this product today is is a top performing product in its category and has placement on almost all of those searches. So if you would type in vitamin D gummies, you're going to see our product. And if you type in kosher vitamin D3, which is another search, or gluten-free vitamin D3, you'll find our product. And that is because before we even launched, we knew what we were targeting. And now look at the graphic for a second. The graphic is also important because people are going to say, hey, is this for kids or adults? So they're going to jump in and they see right away, boom, a beautiful graphic that says for adults. And they say, yeah, but how much, you know, how potent is it? And it says high potency, 5,000 IU. This speaks to the people and therefore they're able to make a decision and we persuade them to buy the product. Now that was listed. The first piece we talked about was retail. The second piece is listings. The final piece is marketing. Now marketing means you need to determine a marketing campaign, how to attack the platform. And in that, you do have to understand the different mediums of marketing and how they work and where to spend your money wisely in order to get the best bang for buck, you know, to get the most efficiency from your money. And that's one piece where we kind of help with is kind of arranging a campaign so that your money goes to the right places. The second piece is you have to know where are you on a search. So if you're trying to target vitamin D, if you have a vitamin D product and that's what you're targeting, you have to know where is my product today when I search vitamin D. And of course, you need as many people to get to your product as possible. And the more people that get to your product and buy your product, that's called a traffic driver. It drives traffic to your product. Then your brand becomes more known and more people buy your product. And more people buy your product gets better known. And now when people go to Amazon, instead of typing vitamin D, they're going to type your brand vitamin D because they've bought it in the past and they know they like it. And that's marketing on Amazon basically in a nutshell. So to understand, this would be an example of a marketing campaign. And in fact, a marketing campaign that we've executed. So with that, these are just a series of funds. And of course, I'm not going to get into the details of where all this spend is going to. But the basic idea is this was a 3-month campaign, which under a single product. And the purpose of this campaign was to get the product up on Amazon, listed on the right searches, gathering reviews, understanding what the searches for the product really are, understanding how well the product performs. And all of that happened in a 3-month dedicated spend towards Amazon marketing, which is about getting visibility on the platform. And of course, when we did launch the product, we track it, you know, which I mentioned before. This is actually an actual tracking of where the product searches appears on search. So on vitamin D gummies, you know, on March 23rd, they were the 8th item. And that's important to know because the market, which means that we know that the visibility is there. And this product today sells a substantial amount of money on Amazon because of this very simple fact. People type in vitamin D gummies. In fact, a lot of people type in vitamin D gummies on Amazon, and we're item number 8. And item number 8 gets a lot of people to see it. And when they click on it, the graphics get them to buy it. And because of that, the product succeeds on Amazon. And there are different versions of traffic drivers. What that means is there are different ways to pay money to get people to your page. The trick, of course, is to be able to invest that spend in a way that even after you pay money, the people still view your product and still have visibility and still buy your product. But when it comes to the marketing piece, you're going to need the spend to be able to do all of this. And that's handled by these different pieces, whether it be a social media driver or paying Amazon per click or running a deal with Amazon or whatever it might be. Those are all just different pieces to getting people to your product. Now, this is, that was just a brief overview, which you have to understand before I got into the Albert Scott piece here, is how Amazon works, and that's how we see it. It's listings, marketing, and retail. If you manage those three pieces well for your brand, regardless of using my service or yourself or using a different service, those are the three pieces of Amazon. The better you do in all three of those, the better you will do on Amazon. Now, we, of course, have an e-commerce management firm. We do manage those pieces in exactly that style of division. And of course, we'd love to work with as many of you as possible to help you guys build up on, your brands on Amazon. But this is a little bit more directed towards, practically speaking, what does that mean really to work with Albert Scott? So here's just a list of items in which basically is the process for you working with us to launch on Amazon. The first item is choose the correct product. Choose the correct product means you have to be able to, know you have a catalog of 10, 15, 20, 100, 500, 1,000 items. The fact is you list those thousands of items on Amazon, none of them will sell. The reason why none of them will sell is because in each of those product categories, there may be 200 to 1,000 competitive products. The only way it will sell is if you put marketing spend behind it. And because of that, what that needs you to do is limit your scope of how you launch on Amazon to be a wide variety of products, to be a singular set of products that you are looking to invest deeply in, which means you have to choose the right ones. And one of the things we help you with is understanding which of your products has the most potential, has the highest demand on Amazon. The next piece is you got to set a price. You have to work with that financial modeling I was showing you before to understand, am I selling this in a count of 3 for $14.95? Am I selling a single one for $9.95? What am I doing here as far as retail price? And we're going to help you with presenting you financial modeling on different products. And each one is going to be different because each product may have a different size, and each product may have a different marketing spend, and each product may be completely different price point wise. So a model must be created around each product that is launched on Amazon. The next piece, of course, is the listings. That is, area A. Area A was, or area B, that was the areas called listings, where we needed to basically present your product correctly, get the search terms in there, and graphically persuade people to buy it. Of course, we need to send inventory. How much inventory? That's my retail team will help you with. Are you launching with a $5,000 marketing campaign? You're going to need 1,000 units. If you're launching with a $3,000 marketing campaign, you need 350 units. If your product's at a $100 price point, it's different than if it's at a $5 price point. And when you restock, you're going to have to understand how much to send. The same thing with marketing. What am I investing in marketing? What type of return am I going to expect? How much should I invest? Let us guide you in those areas to help you kind of succeed in picking the right numbers. Of course, the way that my service is set up is exactly the way I broke down Amazon to you guys. Listings, retail, and marketing. When you work with my service, you'll be working with a series of team leaders in each of these areas which have a team behind them. So listing, you'll be working with my listing director, and she has a graphic team and an art director, and she has keyword research people and all of that. But your connection is with your listing director, and her job is one job and one job only. Make sure your product listing is set up to do the best on Amazon. And the same thing with marketing. His marketing director has his team, and his job is to make sure that your marketing spend goes to the right places and does the best to generate revenue on the platform. And the same thing with my retail team. Are your products in stock? Are your customers happy? Is your Amazon solutions being taken care of? And all of that. Well, what if you want to watch what's going on? We have developed something called Nifty One, which is probably one of the best pieces of software developed for looking into Amazon. So you will be able to track every product you have, how much it's sold, how much money you're making live, with exact information as where in the country your products have gone, what's going on with your marketing, and all the different pieces that you would want to know about Amazon. Now, as your products sell, Amazon pays you. You'll get paid once a month, twice a month, depending on the setup. And of course, if that payment will be based on what your retail price was and how much units you've sold and all of that. And you have a need, of course, as products sell out, to replenish inventory. How much? My retail team will help you figure out exactly the right amount of stock to kind of keep the right amount of inventory for everyone at Amazon. Now, what's it going to cost? Well, there is basically overall spend you have to understand is basically this. You're going to need to spend some money on the setup, and the setup cost includes everything from designing product listings to presenting financial models to launching your brand store to presenting you marketing campaigns, and all of these pieces are all about getting live on Amazon. And it's really based around the product's launch, because again, Amazon is only as successful as your particular product sell. It is in fact not uncommon for us to work with a brand that can have one product that can be doing $3 to $5 million. on Amazon and yet have another product that doesn't sell at all. Now, the reason is because one product is on top of the search, tuna, and the other product is not found at all in any searches. And the reason is because one was successful in their marketing and one wasn't. And because of that, each product needs its own view and it needs its own approach. And that's going to be your success, is going to be a series of products that do a certain amount of marketing. So that leads me to the second piece, which is the marketing cost. Every product launched on Amazon today, we do not launch a product unless there is a marketing campaign behind it. This wasn't always true about Amazon, but it is today. What that means is if you put your product up and you can have the best pictures and the best product in the country, it doesn't make a difference. Nobody will find it, nobody will buy it, which means that you need to, before you launch your product, already have dedicated spend in order to be able to get this product found on Amazon. Well, how long does it take? And the answer is, another value of Amazon, pretty damn quick. You can get up on Amazon in about 15 days if you move quickly, and that means to say, marketing campaigns approved, listing products hit my warehouse, we prep it, we deliver it to Amazon, and Amazon has very little delays. We work very closely with Amazon themselves, and because of that, we're able to get things done pretty quickly. And all those pieces allow, for you to be up and selling literally in 15 days. We've built products that have been one of the top products in their category in less than 2 to 3 months. Now, there had been products existing on the platform for 5 to 10 years before we had launched on the platform. Now, why is this product performing better? Because there's marketing spend behind it, because the product is better, because the listing looks better, because the price point is right. Great. Now, what do we expect? What do you expect from doing all this? Well, especially when you get your product live, you'll have a live available product on Amazon that is Prime, 2-day delivery with a professional listing and professional graphics, all handled by a team of professionals, art directors, graphic people, photography people, people that are specialized in the different areas of presenting product professionally on Amazon. Your marketing spend is going to be getting you sales, getting you reviews, starting to build that organic traction, which is necessary for the health on Amazon. And finally, and this is how I'll end today, if you guys are looking to kind of move forward, and as I said, we are looking to work with as many of you as possible. The fact is that today, if you have any idea where you think that your best product is going to be the better product or your worst product is going to be the worst product, the real truth of it is that I have no idea and you have no idea how well your product is going to perform. We had brands that have taken products that they can officially were discontinuing, and they sent this inventory. A particular brand had a bug zapper, and they said, Shlomo, we have this bug zapper. We do business with you guys, but honestly, it's not a great product. It doesn't do well in stores. We don't want to carry it anymore. But listen, we have a couple thousand units. Let's launch it on Amazon. And today, that bug zapper sells beautifully on Amazon, and in fact, is not discontinued and is one of their best selling. Now, why is that? Because on Amazon, this was a great bug zapper. So the actual success of each of your brands on Amazon, we today don't have any idea. We want to be in it to win it. We want to be able to help as many of you guys as possible launch, sell on Amazon, and of course, do revenue. And of course, please reach out to Yoni. He's going to be overseeing to make sure that all of you guys are responded to, you have the right information. And of course, we'll be working with the wonderful people that have arranged all of this to make sure that you guys are up and selling on Amazon and soon. Now, this one last piece, and this is important because I'm working today with a lot of US brands, and some of them are very large. Many of them are public companies. The real truth is they have no idea what the hell is going on Amazon, but they will figure it out, and they have a lot of money. So those two pieces means that you probably have a time bomb of 12 to 18 months where kind of before they get their, now they're slow and they're corporate and they're large and they're slow to turn, but they will turn. What that means is that you guys have a timing thing for being able to compete. What that means is that, when you run marketing, you have to understand that there's going to be competition, and depending on the competitive nature of your space is depending on how much marketing, how effective your marketing is. And right now it's very effective. But when bigger brands start throwing a lot of money at Amazon, like they are trying to pivot to do, that marketing spend will, have less efficiency, and there'll be more competition and less chance of success, which means the quicker that you can get live on Amazon, the more likely you will be able to generate revenue with your marketing. And the difference between 7 months ago before COVID to today is very different. And the difference from 12 months from now is going to be completely different. And with that, I just want to end my presentation. I thank you all for listening. I hope I didn't bore you too much. I'm going to open it, up to the next set of this piece over here. So thank you all for listening. Doctor?
Thank you very much, Shlomo, for taking us through the nuts and bolts of listing on Amazon and what it takes to succeed on that platform. Thank you very much for the detailed breakdown and the clear explanations that you provided. We now want to open it up so that you can ask all the questions that you came with and get clarification within this session. As you are preparing your questions, I've been seeing a lot of people asking about the recording as well as the presentation and giving us email addresses. We will use the email address that you registered for the webinar using. If you have a different email address, may you please contact the Hub staff to make sure that we have got the correct email address to which we will then send the presentation as well as the recording. Let me share the details of the staff in question in case you don't know whom to contact. These are the staff that you can contact to get the details depending on the countries that you are in. So if you are in Botswana, you see Cosmas, Eswatini, you see Tami, Lamini. So those are the email addresses. You can send your contact details or email address that you prefer so that we direct the communication appropriately. Okay, let's see if there are any questions yet within the chat box. Okay, so we've got the first question is from Carmen. Do you have to have your brand trademarked in the US to sell on Amazon? Over to you, Shlomo.
No, you do not. To sell on Amazon today, you do not need a trademark at all. Now, that does not mean that a trademark is not extremely helpful for selling on Amazon, and it does not mean that a trademark can be extremely helpful, especially if you have success on Amazon. One of the most successful products we have launched on Amazon. We launched it. It was a cute product that allowed you to put one shoe on top of another shoe instead of side by side. So if you have a lot of shoes and you want to kind of store them right, and the product was selling like crazy, and we were selling so well that the brand had ran out of stock and had no more inventory. They were bringing inventory in from China, and what happened was that all of a sudden different people started showing up and selling the product. And now the brand knows that it can't be their product because they don't have any more stock left in the country. So what had happened was that people had seen the success of the product, manufactured replica, inauthentic goods, and started selling. And Amazon is actually very good at taking care of that. But the only way that they do that is with a registered trademark. Besides for that, there are other marketing pieces that they will only give you. So you cannot build a brand store. You cannot put video on your page. There are limitations to non-trademark goods, but absolutely not. In fact, today, some of my best-selling products do not even have a trademark at all. And it is not a necessary component for selling on Amazon.
Thank you, Shlomo. The next question that we have is from Nasima. I'm selling online on Planet 54. I would like to also sell on Amazon. How would I go about it?
One more, what is the question? One more time?
Let me repeat it. I'm selling online on Planet 54. I would like to also sell on Amazon. How would I go about it?
Well, Amazon, the Prime system has basically, which we had mentioned in this presentation, means that Amazon fulfillment is really taking care of the product, which means that if you have a website in which you're selling, you can continue doing the shipping like you do today and sell on your product, you sell on your website. But the fact is that you're going to need to dedicate a set of inventory to go to Amazon fulfillment centers in order to kind of sell on Amazon. So that's one important piece to understand. The second important piece is that, you will be launched with an Amazon account. You'll have your product listed, and of course you'll have to run through the same amount of, launch that, if you don't have a website, of course, if people know your brand, they're more likely to sell and do better on Amazon. But you're going to have to go through the regular processes of account launch, marketing campaigns, and all the other different pieces in order to sell. If you have a place with a lot of visibility, if you have a website that has a lot of people viewing it, or if you have an email list of thousands of people, you can use that to help build your Amazon by sending an email out that says, hey guys, try 50% off my product. And then you do a lot of sales, Amazon sees those sales and you do well. So you can utilize existing infrastructure to help build your brand. But unfortunately, you can't just kind of take it all and just move it to Amazon. It's not kind of how it works. You do have to launch separately on Amazon. You need to dedicate inventory towards it. And of course, we'd love to help you with that.
Oh, thank you. The next one is from Tabo. He wants to know if you only deal with Amazon US or even elsewhere in other countries.
So that's a great question. And, when we launched this service, we have, we can sell on different platforms and we're registered to do that. And we actually called it e-commerce management because when we had launched our service, first of all, the overall landscape was a little different than it is today. And Amazon hadn't clearly won at that time. But when we had launched, we realized that there was only really one player. And that player was Amazon.com. And the fact is that the better you do on Amazon.com is basically there's a large spectrum of, performance. There are services that you can use that will get you up and live on Amazon.com. And there are services that will do a little bit better and worse. But there is a lot to be done on Amazon.com. And we realized right off the bat that we have an option of doing many things not that well or one thing extremely well. And we said, we're going to be fully focused on Amazon and Amazon.com for now. But actually, the nature of my service has grown somewhat substantially since we've launched, and we've passed the 100 brand mark and are doing many millions of dollars of sales, and are indeed, in fact, now launching Amazon in particularly Europe as the next largest set of Amazon. So Amazon UK, Amazon Germany are going to be rolled out in the next 6 weeks. And of course, if the potential of is to do well on those platforms, we'd love to help you guys do well. But trying not to, of course, lose your focus and and keep the focus. The fact is that even these platforms like Amazon UK, which might be the second largest Amazon, is a fraction of the size of Amazon US, and you can sell more in one day on Amazon US than you did in a year on some of these other platforms. So it will probably always be our focus, but we are expanding to different marketplaces, particularly within the Amazon infrastructure.
Thank you, Shlomo. Next one is from Tabo. Do you assist with FDA certification? I would say outright, Tabo, I don't know which country you are in. Please pick from the list of the stuff that we have there from the hub and discuss that question with them. Let me move to, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, we work with great partners there are a lot of pieces to do well. So let's just, group that with the questions that regard to bringing product into the country and getting the right papers passed. The fact is we work with different partners. We can help you set them up. They are cost effective. We are, at the end of the day, a service that keeps an eye on profitability. We're not set up to be, there are services in our country, in the United States, that are set up to be expensive. That's the way that they approach business. They're looking for a high-end corporate client, and everything they do is just expensive. We do not work that way. We are, in fact, positioned that today probably about 95% of the money that we make has to do with generated revenue of brands that we've built. So we work at a percentage of revenue, and that means that we are, more focused on getting things working than charging people. And that's what we look from our partners. So we're happy to set people up with different different services that will help them bring product into the country, that will help them get FDA whatever paperwork they need to be done. We can set you up with partners, and the partners will set you up with, again, they're not us. We're not in control of what they do or don't do, but at the same time, generally speaking, are cost effective and easy to work with.
Mm-hmm. Then from Colleen, there's a question about what model you use for your fees.
So the fee structure that we developed is really a three-pronged fee structure. The three prongs are like this. There's a launch setup fee because of the nature of the graphics and photography and listing development and the research pieces and the financial modeling. So there is an initial cost, and that is product-based, which means that you have one product may have nothing to do with the research, photography, graphics, and entire approach of another product. So there is a singular setup fee. You know, and of course we'll have conversation with regards to what exactly we're looking at. That's one area of spend. The second area in which we make money is we're going to present you before we launch a marketing campaign that we feel confident will get the product off the ground. That marketing campaign, the strong majority of the money goes to Amazon themselves for different marketing programs. Some of that money goes to external marketing, marketing outside Amazon that drives sales. In fact, that's probably the second to largest percentage. But we do have a marketing charge alongside that. But as I said before, the majority of the revenue we make today, and the strong majority, and probably close to 95% of the money that my service makes, is a percentage of the retail sale. So when we present you your financial modeling, we work to do a complete job on that. And included in that is going to be a commission that we are going to take, which is 9% of the retail sale, for the management of the actual process. And the greater that your brand grows, the more money we make, the more money you make, and the better this relationship overall works. We have very little, all the work we do on Amazon.com is going to belong to your brand, which means that you are in somehow getting in, you know, a multi-million-dollar team of Amazon professionals building up your brand on Amazon.com. That is going to be yours if you decide, and we have very little as far as commitment. If you feel that you have a better way to approach Amazon than the service we're providing, none of our contracts will lock you in. We are looking to provide you the best value and the best service on Amazon, and because of which the nature of our service is mostly focused on percentages of revenue, but that's not to say that there isn't a setup cost and there is some level of cost for the execution of the marketing campaigns. And just to jump into that second point, brands, I have brands that every brand has a different amount of money, has a different amount of potential, and has a different amount of need to do well on Amazon. So I can have a brand that approached me that is already doing $5 to $10 million and telling me that they're in a lot of trouble. Now, how could they be in trouble if they're doing $5 to $10 million? Well, because if you did $500 million of total sales and only $5 to $10 million was from Amazon, you know, that it means that your percentage of your overall revenue is not coming from Amazon. And in 5 years from now, if Amazon grows to be what it looks like it's going to be, your business is going to be a lot smaller. And therefore, they have a need to do $50 million. And of course, the marketing that they're going to be looking at is not the marketing that another brand is looking to launch a single product to see what the platform looks like, to get experience, that doesn't have that kind of spend, is going to have a different set of marketing. So we're going to be working with you guys to determine the right campaigns, of course. There will be a setup package that we're going to be working with the people that have arranged this in order to kind of, you know, simplify this process so that we can, of course, kind of present a, you know, a single offering, which you guys can launch products, understand the cost up front, decide if it makes sense for you, and get live on Amazon. And we'll have more information about that following up on this. It hasn't been fully worked out yet, of course, but we do plan on offering you guys a package in which you can see right off the bat, this is what it costs to get live on Amazon. This is where my money's going. This is my marketing spend. You decide, okay, fine, I want to run with it. I want to run with it on one product. Let's get up and live on Amazon. And boom, we'll move quickly to do so. So there'll be more information as far as the overall cost practically for brands to launch on Amazon. But the overall purpose here is to get you up live selling on Amazon so that there's revenue to be shared amongst us.
Thank you. There's a question here from a South African firm that wants to know how do they set up bank accounts in the US to be able to transact with Amazon?
Well, you know, there are different ways to sell through my service. Actually, some of my brands do not have US bank accounts. We have an ability to we have a master account today that we pay a lot of money to Amazon to have dedicated reps to, and has about 25,000 ratings on it. And it's a large account. And actually many international brands that don't have, you know, LLCs or bank accounts or certain things that are necessary for launching an Amazon account just kind of sell through this master account. And we kind of, they of course have all the information because our software provides it to them anyway. And in fact, is no different in how much money they make, and in fact may even make the overall process slightly easier. There are trade-offs to whether or not you want your own account or utilizing a master account. But the real answer is that you do not actually need a US bank account, because we do have the ability to be a proxy, to be in place of you in order to sell your product, and therefore, and of course, pay you the money that's necessary to whichever account you're looking to sell on, that you have set up.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Tasmin wants to know, she needs refrigerated storage. Is there allowance made for this?
A refrigerated storage?
Yes. So I guess she's selling products that need refrigeration. So she needs to know, is there an allowance made for this in terms of storing products in refrigerated facilities?
It's a tricky part of Amazon. There are certain areas of Amazon that are not so well set up today. So in the refrigerated space, there are actually 3 levels. There's something called shelf stable. That means, you know, most of the products today, you have a t-shirt and you don't need it to be at all in any temperature, it's fine. The next level is referred to as meltable. Meltable means like chocolate. If you sell chocolate during the summer, it's going to melt. It doesn't need to be refrigerated. It just can't hit a certain temperature. And there are many products like that. And then the final space is refrigerated. Refrigerated means that it has to be maintained at a certain 38 degrees Fahrenheit or whatever it might be Celsius. And now we actually are one of the few services in the world that have a meltable solution, which means that we actually have a logistical setup to ship products during the summer. Like today, we manage close to 10 different chocolate brands. And basically what we do for them in the summer months is ship with ice packs and insulated bags. Unfortunately, we do not, it isn't really existent so much a refrigerated medium of shipping on Amazon. There's just no way to do it at this point where you can offer a product at a reasonable price and be able to hide the necessary logistical costs of delivering overnight, which is kind of what's necessary to be done to kind of maintain those temperatures even with ice packs and dry ice. So we don't have a solution for refrigeration. The second that that becomes available, we'd love to work with however many brands we can in that space, and we'd love to work with whomever is interested. But to be transparent, we do not today. You know, but if it is, of course, a meltable product, we do have a solution for that, and that actually is broken up different between the winter and summer, and we can talk more about that.
Mm-hmm. Denise wants to know, she's a wine producer in South Africa. Does Amazon have any specific regulations when it comes to wine sales? How do you go about wine samples?
Well, as much as we'd love to be working with as many wine brands as we can, unfortunately, Amazon is pretty strict with alcohol. In general, the United States is pretty strict with alcohol, and today there is no alcohol sold on Amazon and no ability to sell alcohol on Amazon. So it's probably one of those things that is actually a pretty long shot away. There are certain areas of e-commerce that are still in infancy. Alcohol sales is one of them. The reason for that is because alcohol is state ran, and in the United States, when you have 50 different states, each one with a completely different set of regulation and approvals, it becomes almost impossible to do cross-country delivery for alcohol. And these kind of issues have forced, you know, services and marketplaces such as Amazon to avoid the whole topic. And frankly, unless something shifts dramatically in the United States' system, it's probably going to be some time before alcohol is available to be sold on Amazon.
Thank you. Arun wants to know how to check products similar to theirs, let's say vitamin D3 selling. So how do I check products similar to mine, let's say vitamin D3, how they are selling on Amazon? I need to know the total number of units and value sold in Amazon platform.
So that's actually a great question. One of the pieces that my service offers. We have built a piece of software and hardware. It runs off about 50 different servers out of Germany, but the purpose of the tool is to be able to pull data off Amazon and basically compile it into an actionable research. So the way that we work when it comes to providing information around a product before you launch is we provide 2 areas of information. The first is, what are people searching on Amazon? So you can understand before you launch, are people looking for a vitamin D3 and how many people? Is it a bigger search than vitamin C? Is it a smaller search? So the first piece of information we provide is Amazon search demand data, which we have access to. The second piece is built around systems and hardware and software we built to be able to pull information around a product category and show you all of your competitive products, what the price points are and the revenue that exists. So you can make a judicious choice about how big the space is, and of course the price point, how well priced you are compared to competitive products. So we do provide researches, and we do provide both in the product category and on the search data, so that you can have a clear understanding of kind of which products and what to expect and what price point, and as much data as we can provide for you in the space.
The next one is from Voden. I'm interested in the footwear market, but also concerned about returns based on the sizing. How would the returns work when clients make the wrong choice and not the brand? as you mentioned, that Amazon would charge the vendor. Also, second
That,
aspect, what would you suggest the marketing spend for a footwear brand with us in Africa being at a big disadvantage with regards to the rate of exchange of our currency versus the dollar?
so we work in the footwear space. I'm familiar with the space, and you're absolutely right. Returns are a big piece of it. The actual problem is not that people bought the wrong size. It's actually that they buy two sizes. You know, if a person is, you know, not sure if they want to buy a size 8.5 or a 9, Amazon takes everything back without a problem. So all they do is buy 8.5 and a 9, you know, and bring it to their house and try them both on and send back the one they don't want. Now, it's in fashion in general and high-end products, this is a big piece of Amazon. And when you build your financial model, so if you're selling your shoes for $69.95, you know, in grocery, you know, if I'll jump at you, you know, we'll see your financial model. In grocery products, there's very few returns. So you have to dedicate about 1.5% of your overall total sales. You're going to have to assume is going to go towards returns. Now, in spaces like footwear, where the return rate, we've launched shoe brands. You know, we've launched a Rain Brute that had done very well on Amazon, but had a return rate of 24%. Nuts, you know, it's crazy. You know, and we were able to do certain things to bring it down. So for example, on the sizing piece, what we did was we created graphics on the listing that helped guide people to buy the right size. So if the shoe ran small, we had a graphic saying, hey, guys, the shoe runs small, you know what I'm saying? So, and therefore people that would normally get, you know, if they weren't sure which size to get, they got the smaller. So that helps a bunch. But the real truth of it is there will always be a substantial return rate. And one of the tricks of Amazon is to understand, no different than they have a commission, they're going to have a certain amount of money that's going to be lost here on the retail sale because you're trying to set it up in the system where there's going to be a high return rate. So for example, in shoes, we actually assume that 7% of the retail sale, if you sold $100 of product on Amazon, you know, or let's say you sold $10,000 worth of product, $700 of that will go dedicated spend towards money lost because people bought two and returned one. Amazon's very good at putting the products back on the shelf, so it's not a complete loss of goods, but it still costs money. And because of that, when you create your financial model, especially in certain categories, it's important to include the returns, loss, and damage in the actual price point so that you know that at $60, you're not going to net 42 because $7 is going to be returns. You're only going to net 35. And if 35 makes sense, great. But if it doesn't make sense, then don't charge 69, charge 75 because 75 will include that. So, you know, it is important to understand that there is returns. There's nothing to do about it. You can try to guide people the best you can. It doesn't make really a difference. They will buy a percentage of, especially in fashion, a percentage of products will be returned. And it's important to include that in your modeling so that you can remain profitable post that.
Okay, so time check. We are now on 4:43. We'd allocated up to 4:44 questions. I wanted to check with participants. We still have a few more questions. Do you want us to push on in terms of answering the questions, or would you want us to compile the questions and get them responded to, and then we send the responses to you? What is your choice?
You know, I would say let's try to compile the questions. I think that people have asked questions here that relate to a lot of the different brands, you know, so because of that, what I would recommend here is let's compile the questions, even the ones I've mentioned. Let's try to put them together in a list, and we'll respond with, you know, over email with a series of answers, answering each of these questions, and perhaps with a little bit more information than me just talking. And this way, you know, if a question applied to multiple brands and they didn't really understand what was going on, or people have more questions, they can put it together and everybody could have the right amount of information, would probably be the way I'd recommend.
Okay, thank you. I think in the interest of time as well, it's now 4:44. Let me invite George to take us through the next steps. Thanks a lot for all your questions. We are not disregarding your questions. We're going to be compiling the frequently asked questions and get responses. Some of them, we are going to group them in terms of compliance issues, pricing issues, marketing issues, market entry issues, and so forth, and send responses to all the participants on this webinar. George, can I invite you to come in and give us the next steps, please? George, I think you're on mute.
Thank you very much, Golden. I'm glad you could read the sign language there. I wasn't able to unmute myself. Good afternoon, everybody. I hope that we all have found this worth our while. My role here is just to ask, I guess, one question that how willing and how ready are we to use this service? So in other words, where do we go from here? We're looking at, obviously, to be guided by you, but we can only do that if you provide us with information that will help us to understand where you stand in terms of whether you are looking at going forward with this service. And I think it was quite clear that there is need for us to understand where you stand before we can move forward. So what we are hoping will happen going forward is that Albert's code can actually help us design a simple digital assessment form where we can actually assess assess your willingness and ability to use this service by the responses that you're going to provide. We can actually collect that information and then be able to be guided on what sort of service you are looking for, what sort of products you're looking at using this service for, as well as then be able to decide what sort of package that we can then work out with Albert Scott for you, and then discuss that with you before finalizing the way forward. I know that we have a lot of different companies from different countries with different needs. We can only be guided that way by this. So I hope that that is a way forward that we can all then be able to use to be able to be on the same page and be able to then move forward. So we will, you all have registered, I believe, and we will then reach out to you as soon as we have got this tool worked out with Albert Scott, and then we will continue to liaise on how we're going to proceed once we've got all this information in place. That's the one side of it. I think the main step that we're going to take going forward. Secondly, we've got what has been suggested here, that you will continue to give us or submit questions, or we already have questions that you have submitted. We're going to compile those questions and liaise with Albert Scott, the Albert Scott team, and get answers to those questions and send the responses directly to you using the information that you supplied supplied us with during the registration and when you were registering. That way we can then be able to have all the answers provided. The third step that I would want to suggest is that let's continue to liaise, let's continue to interact, and feel free to get in touch with the names, or through to the hub through the names that were provided earlier on, the contacts that were provided by Golden earlier on. And if you are not able to get in touch with any of those local contacts in your various countries, please feel free to come to us directly here. We can then be able to direct or provide the information that you would be looking for. those are the areas that I thought we could actually take as the next steps going forward. Chair, back to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, George. Participants, we are going to be sending also a survey questionnaire. Feel free to complete within that survey questionnaire if you have additional questions that you think about after the session, so that we can provide them to Shlomo and team for them to provide responses, so that we build that into the next steps that George has just talked about. At this point, let me invite Haofi to give us the closing remarks. To remind you, she is the delegate from the South African Consulate in New York, and very active in terms of supporting the firms to get in the US market, and part of the team that has been organizing together with the Hub and Shlomo's team for us to have this webinar. Haofi, please, could you please give us a few closing remarks?
Thank you very much, Golden. Good afternoon, evening, everyone. Good morning to those in the US. Thank you kindly, Shlomo, for this very insightful presentation on e-commerce and sharing all the valuable information on how to get a product to have hits and make sales on Amazon. From personal experience, I know that profiling and branding is quite critical on an e-commerce platform. So the information that you shared with us today was very, very, very valuable. I appreciate also the practical questions that we have received from the companies. I think they are really very enriching and will enable each company to custom make their products to fit into the Amazon platform. Of course, it goes without saying that before a business sets out to enter a new market, it has to fully apprise itself of the environment that it is looking to tap into. That is understanding your market and being able to unlock the opportunities in that market. COVID-19 has really changed the way that we do business and engage with each other, but it has altered the ways of doing and heightened also our preferences. A lot of people have now moved to online purchases as opposed to going into store. And I know that Shlomo also spoke about Amazon not having the capabilities or abilities of having refrigerated products. But what it has also done in the US is it has partnered with a grocery store where you're able to order your groceries, which includes also refrigerated products. So there has been a lot of pivoting also on the side of Amazon and also on the side of grocery stores, just taking into account the challenges and the opportunities that also started arising prior to the pandemic. Of course, we know the fact that we are sitting here in different time zones, different spaces, tells us that times are changing. A few months ago, we relied heavily on physical contact and engagement with each other to be able to present ourselves and our brands. Increased connectivity, interconnectivity has brought with it multiple challenges, but equally great opportunities. So I think it's really important that, particularly at times like these, that the lessons that arise from a global economic downturn are never forgotten. It is my hope that we remember all of the lessons that we have learned during this period, because this pandemic has also shown us the importance of business adaptation. There is no time like the present than to pivot and start thinking about adapting and being relevant in a market that is constantly changing and developing and bringing in new opportunities. The purpose of today's session was exactly that, working in partnership with USAID, Trade and Investment Hub, to bring you opportunities that exist in the e-commerce or in the US e-commerce, was part of what we wanted to do, to show you that you don't necessarily have to focus on brick and mortar. There are other opportunities that exist in the market. What works for you? Would you rather reach a wider market, where you're able to grow your global footprint, or would you want to focus on brick and mortar? What are the opportunities for your business? And I think what Amazon does for you is it creates a platform where you're able to test different preferences and tastes and have people review your product, give ideas, where you're able to compare your product with products that are already in the market, also giving you an opportunity to improve on the product that you're already selling. I think that what the e-commerce platform does is it creates a bigger and a wider environment for your products in comparison to brick and mortar. Of course, the questions that were asked today were also very fundamental on FDA clearances. How would you then get your product into the market? But I think, as Shlomo said, it's also important to realize that once you have overcome the teething problems, the opportunities are really, really great for your company. What is also very important for you is how you profile yourself on the platform and how you use the platform to your benefit. On behalf of the South African Consulate General, we hope that you derived great value in today's session. Our deepest gratitude goes to Shlomo from Albert Scott and Yoni. I know I didn't see him today, but thank you so much, Yoni, for the time that you have afforded us to create this platform and for availing your expertise to share industry knowledge about entering or going into e-commerce. Thank you to the companies for making the time to participate in the webinar. It is my hope that we will see most of your products on Amazon soon, and we stand ready to assist as a consulate. It would be remiss for me not to acknowledge USAID Trade and Investment Hub, led by Golden. Thank you so much for being a resolute partner of the consulate. Thank you for the meetings that were organized by COS and Mabatu, and really for always reaching out to the consulate to look for collaboration and opportunities to partner in bringing our companies into the US market. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank our colleagues from our mission in Chicago. They joined us in today's session, Shakira and Ignatius. And of course, to thank Bing, who I have worked very closely with these couple of months to make sure that we have these online webinars and sessions that create a platform for our South African companies. With that said, I wish you all a lovely evening and a good day further.
Thank you very much, Hofi, for the closing remarks. And thank you, everyone. Thank you, the USAID Trade and Investment Hub team, for the work behind the scenes. Thank you, Shlomo, and your team.
Thank you all very much.
In the Chicago office. Can I ask the Southern Africa Trade and Investment Hub team to remain online for us to just debrief?
Amazing. Thank you all very much. Have a wonderful